Imagine for a moment that within you exists an infallible voice, a silent oracle that never makes mistakes, a guiding force that, when you listen, dissolves doubt, fear, and confusion, and leads you directly toward the perfect decision, every single time. This text, Perfect Decisions, the Inner Oracle That Never Fails, inspired by the teachings of Joseph Murphy, is not merely a reflection on the mind. It is a gateway to the divine intelligence that resides deep within your being. Every word you will hear is designed to awaken that dormant power that knows what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. You will discover that you don't need to search for answers outside yourself, because the infinite wisdom of the universe is already pulsing within your subconscious. Prepare to connect with the inner source of absolute certainty, to transform indecision into confidence and fear into radiant faith. From this moment on, every choice you make can become a perfect expression of your inner wisdom. Your inner oracle is waiting. All it needs is silence, attention, and faith. The journey to the mind that never fails begins now. Within every human being lies a hidden treasure, a direct and inseparable connection to infinite intelligence. This eternal intelligence, present everywhere, knows the answer to every question and the solution to every problem, no matter how complex it may seem. It is not the property of a select few, nor a privilege reserved for mystics or scholars. It is the inheritance and right of every man and woman who chooses to turn inward and listen to the serene voice that rises from the higher subconscious. Observe the life around you, and you will recognize a profound truth: the agony of indecision. That feeling of being trapped between conflicting choices does not come from a lack of external information. You can consult experts, read books, seek advice from family and friends, and still feel that something essential is missing. The true cause of doubt and unease is the temporary inability to access the wisdom that already resides within you, waiting to be called to the surface. It is not the absence of answers, but the forgetting of how to receive them that causes suffering. Throughout my experience, I have witnessed countless cases in which a single, divinely guided decision completely transformed the destiny of ordinary people. I remember a young man torn between two career paths. After searching within and waiting for a clear sign, he chose the less obvious path. Today, he is a leading figure in his field. He lives with peace and a sense of purpose. Contrast this with the story of a woman who, for years, ignored the voice of her intuition, allowing doubt and fear to keep her in relationships and jobs that drained her vitality. Only when she decided to listen did her life regain meaning and joy. The difference was not intelligence, but the willingness to receive the guidance that infinite intelligence had always offered. This distinction is fundamental. We are not here to invent answers or create solutions through sheer mental effort. Our task is far simpler and yet deeper: to receive guidance from the all-knowing source within our subconscious, which sees all paths and outcomes, and patiently waits for our call. Just as a radio does not produce the music but tunes into it, your mind does not create truth. It receives and manifests it. I want you to know from the very start of this journey that the techniques and principles you will learn in this book are not abstract theories, nor formulas for a gifted few. They are proven paths, simple exercises, universal laws that you can apply starting today, no matter your situation. You will discover how to quiet the mind, how to distinguish the genuine voice from yesterday's noise, how to receive clear confirmations from the universe, and above all, how to live each day in absolute certainty, even amidst life's most challenging crossroads. There is no vital crossroads that cannot be clarified, no important decision for which guidance is lacking, once you learn to consult, trust, and act upon the infinite wisdom that resides within you. To you, reader, I promise complete mastery of techniques that will give you absolute clarity, firm confidence, and the inner assurance that you never walk alone. Infinite wisdom is always ready, waiting for the simple call of your attention. The time has come to open the door and receive the perfect gift of divine guidance. How to receive divine guidance in decisions, based on the teachings of Joseph Murphy. We have noticed that more than 80% of those who visit our channel are not subscribed. You can support this project by pressing the subscribe button and liking the video. Thank you for inspiring us to continue creating more and better content for you. Are you ready to transform your life? Chapter 1: The Law of Perfect Inner Guidance. The life of a human being, when observed closely, reveals a profound mystery. How is it that, in certain moments, a serene voice guides us, and by following it, we arrive at the right decisions that reason alone could not have anticipated? Let me tell you from the very beginning of our journey together, this is neither a coincidence nor a privilege reserved for a few enlightened souls. It is a universal law, a law as exact as gravity and as operative as the invisible current that turns the propeller of a motor, even if the eye cannot see it. The law of perfect inner guidance is simple. Your subconscious mind, that vast, silent portion of your being, is in constant communion with the universal mind. This universal mind, which you may call infinite intelligence, the Holy Spirit, or universal soul, contains all knowledge of the past, present, and future. Nothing is hidden from it, for it exists beyond time and space. Every answer, every solution, every correct direction already exists, waiting to be captured and manifested through your receptivity. You do not need to create anything from nothing. You only need to open the door of your inner mind and allow infinite wisdom to flow into your consciousness, just as water comes to the one who has dug a well in fertile ground. "Ask and it will be given to you," declared the Master Jesus. This phrase, often quoted and little understood, is not an empty promise. It is the precise description of a spiritual and mental law. When you ask from the depths of your being, with a genuine desire to receive guidance, infinite intelligence responds. Not because you must be a saint, a scholar, or an ascetic, but because you are a child of that same intelligence. Remember, wisdom does not ask the branch if it is worthy. It simply flows because that is the nature of the vine. Imagine for a moment that your conscious mind is like the captain of a ship, while your subconscious is the vast ocean over which you sail. The captain may set the course, but it is the depth of the waters that carries the ship. This is how your life operates. What you impress upon your inner mind becomes direction, momentum, and events. Throughout history, there have been those who, even without explicitly knowing this law, applied it. Think of the inventor who, after nights of uncertainty, suddenly awakens knowing exactly how to assemble the missing piece, or the merchant who, guided by a firm intuition, invests in the right place at the right time. Let me tell you the real story of a miner in Colorado, a simple, uneducated man who said, "For days we dug and dug without finding anything. One night, exhausted, I prayed for clear guidance. In my dream, I saw a vein of gold in a specific spot of the tunnel. The next day, though my companions doubted, I dug exactly where the dream had shown me. In less than an hour, the earth revealed its treasure. It was not chance. It was the law working with precision. The subconscious mind, in contact with universal wisdom, brought the answer to the conscious plane. The same happened with a doctor I met in New York. He told me, a patient came with perplexing symptoms. Nothing I had learned at university explained her condition. That night, before sleeping, I asked to be guided. I dreamt I saw a page from an old medical book, describing her exact illness and the specific treatment. I awoke knowing what to do. Within a week, the patient was well. Was he a mystic, a saint? No, just a man who knew how to access the storehouse of wisdom we all share, though few consult it with faith and humility. Emerson, that great American thinker, expressed it this way: there is a universal soul of which every individual soul is a part, and to which every soul may turn if it so desires. There is no separation. Now, the greatest error of old thought is to believe we are alone, separate, limited to the scant data of our senses and the memory of past experiences. The new thought affirms and proves that whenever you need guidance, the perfect answer already exists on the spiritual plane, waiting to be recognized and accepted. I invite you now to practice a simple but powerful exercise, like a farmer preparing the furrow before sowing. Sit in a quiet place. Close your eyes gently. Take 3 deep breaths, letting each exhale sink you deeper into your inner self. Say inwardly, "Infinite intelligence which created my body and keeps planets in orbit, now guide my decisions perfectly." Repeat this affirmation 3 times with attention and serenity. If thoughts of doubt arise, let them pass like leaves carried by the wind. Remain in silence for a minute, feeling the peaceful presence of that inner wisdom. There is no need to struggle, force, or obsess. The seed does not grow by the farmer's effort, but by his faith in the law that governs life. This is how perfect guidance manifests, through receptivity, faith, and the willingness to listen. Have you ever wondered why, despite having all the data, some decisions turn out wrong, while at other times a simple hunch leads directly to success? It is not chance nor blind luck. It is the law operating through you, even when you are unaware. When the mind is calm, when the desire for guidance is sincere, and the noise of the ego quiets, the answer rises to the surface like a fish seeking the light. Do not reserve this guidance only for great problems. The law is universal and applies to everything, from choosing a route in traffic to making the decision of your life. Make it a habit to consult your inner self, knowing that you are not asking an external power, but your own higher self in contact with the source of all intelligence. Always remember, divine guidance is not a privilege for a chosen few, nor does it require complicated rituals or separation from ordinary life. It is your birthright. It is as available to you as the air you breathe, if you choose to recognize it and receive it. When you repeat, "Infinite intelligence now guides my decisions perfectly," do not say it like one begging at the gate of a palace, but like one claiming the inheritance of their own house. Say it with the calm certainty that everything necessary has already been provided on the invisible plane, and your task is simply to allow it to manifest. Thus, whenever you face a crossroads, remember this principle. The perfect answer already exists, waiting for you to receive it. Your subconscious is the channel, the universal mind is the inexhaustible source, and your faith is the bridge. And just as the farmer sows with confidence, knowing the earth will respond, so in your interior the expectation of perfect guidance, and the harvest will be inevitable. Let this chapter take deep root in your consciousness. Bring it back to mind before every important decision, and whenever doubt arises, remember, infinite intelligence, which created my body and keeps planets in orbit, now guides my decisions perfectly. This is the law, this is your inheritance, this is the path of one who lives in union with universal wisdom. Remember, you do not need to invent the answer, you only need to receive it. The key to perfect guidance is now in your hands. Chapter 2. Why ordinary guidance fails and how to access higher guidance. In everyday life, human beings are repeatedly faced with decisions that may seem simple on the surface, yet whose deeper significance only reveals itself over time. And yet, how often have you seen highly intelligent people, trained at the finest institutions, make fundamental errors in their lives? Why then is mere intellectual knowledge insufficient for taking the right path? It is essential to understand that there are 3 levels in the decision-making process, 3 layers operating in the human mind whose harmony determines the success or failure of our choices. The first is the conscious intellect, the faculty that weighs pros and cons, argues, compares, and calculates. The second is the surface emotions, shaped by the past, by memories, traumas, fears, and unresolved desires. And the third is subconscious wisdom, that silent reservoir where the connection to the universal mind resides, the only level capable of perceiving the whole picture. Allow me to illustrate this with the image of a ship's helm. The conscious intellect is the observant helmsman, focused on the surface of the sea. The emotions are like the waves. They can lift the ship, shake it, and divert it depending on the winds of the moment. But it is the subconscious that knows the depth of the waters, the invisible currents, hidden reefs, and safe routes that lead to the desired harbor. To ignore this depth is to sail blindly, relying only on what the eye can see on the immediate horizon. Observe the intellect. On its own, it cannot perceive beyond the data. It can compare statistics, check records, even consult experts. But life is made of hidden variables, energetic factors, undeclared intentions, and future tendencies that appear in no report. It is here that higher wisdom, accessible through the subconscious, becomes perfect guidance. Let me tell you the case of a lawyer in Chicago. He was a brilliant man, trained in law and business, known for his logical sharpness. One day he received a partnership offer at a prestigious firm. All the numbers aligned, salary, projections, reputation. Even the unanimous opinion of his colleagues was positive. Yet, as he reviewed the documents, something inside him said no. It was not fear or insecurity, but a subtle sense of disharmony, Against all apparent logic, he declined the offer. Months later, that firm was exposed in a scandal that destroyed careers and reputations. Those who accepted still regret not listening to that inner whisper. Where did that warning come from? From the very same reservoir of wisdom that resides within you, from the subconscious, perceiving realities invisible to the intellect. The subconscious, being in communion with the universal mind, senses the authentic vibrations of people and situations, detects latent trends in markets, and reveals compatibilities and energetic misalignments that escape ordinary logic. Just as an experienced farmer knows instinctively when to sow and when to plow, you can learn to listen to that quiet voice that never fails. History is full of warnings ignored by reason. Consider the Titanic. The morning before its maiden voyage, several passengers, holding valid tickets and without apparent reason, cancelled their trip. Later, they reported a hunch, a vague discomfort, an inner insistence that led them to stay ashore. The rest is history. It was not chance. It was inner wisdom, operating through the subconscious, warning what no newspaper or expert could foresee. This is why many intelligent people who rely solely on reason stumble repeatedly. They analyze everything meticulously but neglect the most important consultation, the one with the inner self, the soul connected to the source. How to distinguish when a decision comes from the superficial mind and when it comes from the reservoir of wisdom. Here is a key. Fear urges. Authentic guidance is serene. If the idea of choosing an option produces agitation, anxiety, or a need to decide hastily, you are facing a surface emotion, the result of past conditioning. If, on the other hand, considering a path brings deep peace, quiet clarity, even if logic resists, then you have touched the genuine source. I propose an exercise. The next time you face an important decision, set aside a few minutes for yourself. Sit with a straight back, close your eyes, and focus on your breathing. Inhale deeply through the nose, hold for 2 seconds, and exhale slowly through the mouth. Repeat 3 times. This calms the analytical mind, relaxes the emotions, and opens the channel to the subconscious. Visualize within yourself the question that concerns you. Do not try to solve it immediately. Simply observe it with serenity, saying, I open my mind and heart to higher guidance. I know that infinite intelligence reveals the best decision within me. Remain in this state for a minute, allowing any response, image, or sensation to emerge. Do you notice the difference? Ideas that arrive calmly without anxiety, that repeat in the following days, and are accompanied by a sense of certainty usually come from the higher mind. Those born of urgency, fear, or external pressure are rarely authentic guidance. Never ignore information that comes from this deep level. Your subconscious, allied with the universal mind, can perceive what the human eye cannot. The true intention of a partner, a market trend, the final outcome of a decision. Every time you open to this guidance, the path clears, obstacles dissipate, and what once seemed complex resolves naturally. The key is not to be swept away by the hurry of the modern world. Inner wisdom never shouts, it always whispers. Therefore, it requires that you quiet external noise and the clamor of the mind. Do not underestimate the importance of receptive breathing as a means to calm the mind and hear the higher self. The technique is simple but powerful. Inhale, pause, exhale, and create a space of inner silence. Make it a habit to consult this wisdom with every decision, big or small. The difference will be evident. You will no longer be ruled by the waves of emotion, nor lost in the sea of logical reasoning that cannot see beyond the next wave. Instead, you will become the captain of your destiny, guided by the infallible compass of the subconscious, perceiving what reason cannot comprehend. In short, ordinary guidance fails because it is limited to the surface, logic, and immediate emotion. Higher guidance, in contrast, arises from the depths of the subconscious, in harmony with the universal mind. You only need to give permission, open yourself, breathe, and receive. Repeat with me before every important decision. The infinite wisdom within me knows what is perfect for me and reveals it now with peace and clarity. This is the key that opens all doors, and it has always been yours. Chapter 3. The Decision Incubation Technique. Within every human being exists a secret door which, if opened correctly, connects the limited individual with the unlimited source of wisdom. This door is the state of sleep, and the key that activates it is the conscious intention directed to the subconscious before sleeping. Allow me to reveal to you an ancient and scientific method at the same time, practiced by sages of all ages and confirmed by modern science, the decision incubation technique. Since the dawn of civilization, humans have sought answers to their problems by posing questions before surrendering to sleep. In ancient Greece, supplicants went to the temples of Asclepius not only for physical healing but also to incubate guiding dreams. The underlying principle remains intact. When the conscious mind withdraws, the subconscious remains in free and direct contact with infinite intelligence. The universal mind that contains every solution, every answer, every possible outcome. But how does this phenomenon occur? During sleep, the conscious mind, the critical sentinel that compares doubts and debates, rests. In that interval, the subconscious, always active and receptive, absorbs the question you have posed with clarity, like a sponge taking in water. It is as if you plant a seed into the fertile soil of your inner being, in silence and darkness. The mystery of germination unfolds, and what was a problem transforms into an answer. Here lies the spiritual physiology of decision incubation. The state of sleep is not mere biological rest. It is the secret laboratory where the subconscious processes, connects, and resolves. The key lies in the clarity of the question and the absolute trust that the answer will come, whether in the form of a dream, an intuition upon waking, or sudden certainty during the following day. I offer you the exact protocol, honed through the experience of countless practitioners. Write your question on paper. Do not leave it floating in mental ambiguity. Be specific, concrete, like an architect drawing a blueprint before building. For example, what is the best decision regarding this job offer? Or, which treatment should I choose for my child's health? Read the question 3 times with absolute faith in the answer. Do it slowly, allowing each word to penetrate your inner being, like water soaking a seed before it sprouts. Repeat a specific affirmation as you fall asleep. Here is the formula. My subconscious knows the perfect answer and reveals it to me clearly. Let these words repeat softly like a lullaby for the soul. Keep a notebook and pencil by your bedside. Upon waking, jot down any image, word, or impression, even if it seems confusing or meaningless. The language of the subconscious is often symbolic, and what appears enigmatic today may become revelation tomorrow. Let us see how this technique has worked in real life. An internationally renowned chemist, faced with an apparently impossible formula, used this method. He wrote his question, "How can I structure a compound that resists oxidation without losing reactivity?" and repeated his affirmation as he fell asleep. That night, he dreamed of snakes biting their own tails, spinning in a circle. Upon waking, he understood the image. The sought-after ring structure, benzene, was revealed symbolically. Thus, a discovery that transformed chemistry was born. I will also tell you of a distressed mother. Her son, sick with a fever, did not respond to usual remedies. Without despairing, she turned to the power of her inner mind. She wrote, "What should I do to heal my child?" and repeated the affirmation before sleeping. During the night, she dreamed of her son covered with a special blanket and heard the voice instructing her to apply warm compresses. Upon waking, she followed these instructions. The fever subsided, and health was restored. This is how infinite intelligence works when you plant your question with faith. Do not fear if the answer comes symbolically. The subconscious, like the minds of prophets and poets, speaks in images. Learn to distinguish between the symbol and the literal message. If you dream of doors opening, paths clearing, or people offering objects, pause and meditate on the meaning. Often the image contains the seed of the answer. Maintain consistency in the practice. It is possible that the first night the answer will not arrive clearly. Do not be discouraged. The invisible seed germinates beneath the surface before breaking through. Each night you practice, you reinforce the communication channel between the conscious mind and the subconscious, and clarity becomes inevitable. Modern scientists are astonished by how often great discoveries occur in dreams. Kekule, the celebrated chemist, reported that the structure of benzene was revealed to him while sleeping. Many other writers, musicians, and inventors have confirmed that their best inspiration came in the quiet of night, When logical thought receded, the inner mind took command. Make this technique your constant ally. Before sleeping, when the house is silent and the noise has faded, write your question. Read it 3 times with serenity. Repeat. My subconscious knows the perfect answer and reveals it to me clearly. Trust, surrender, and rest. Upon waking, record what you received, even if only fragments or emotions. Inner wisdom moistens the pieces, and perfect direction will emerge with increasing clarity. Always remember, the night is a wise counselor for those who plant the seed of their question within it. Do not remain a passive observer. Participate in the miracle through your clear intention and faith. The power that created your body and moves the stars is the same power that responds to your call when you learn to ask correctly. Practice the decision incubation technique today. The answer you seek already exists, waiting to be revealed to your consciousness. Repeat. My subconscious knows the perfect answer and reveals it to me clearly. Thus, every night, the light of infinite intelligence will penetrate your life, and what was once a problem will, by natural law, become a manifest solution. Chapter 4. The Method of the Right Feeling. In the silent symphony of life, your body occupies the place of a sacred instrument. It is neither a coincidence nor a mere biological machine. The human body is, above all, a faithful translator of the voice of the subconscious, a precise detector of the divine way. When you learn to listen, not just to fleeting sensations, but to the deep, constant signals, you discover that the right decision is always accompanied by unmistakable peace, while the wrong decision leaves behind a trail of unease and anxiety that does not dissipate. Do not confuse this method with superficial sentimentality. It is not about changing emotions, momentary likes or dislikes, but about a much deeper inner perception, the sensory language through which the subconscious communicates whether your path is in harmony with the divine plan or misaligned. Just as a thermometer reveals temperature without error, the body, in its wisdom, signals through visceral sensations the fundamental yes or no of life. Here lies the key. Every decision that brings you closer to your higher purpose, every choice that aligns with infinite intelligence, produces a sensation of expansion, lightness, and tranquility felt in the chest, the abdomen, sometimes throughout the entire being. Conversely, every decision that takes you away from that purpose, every step in opposition to the truth of your soul, generates tension, oppression, physical discomfort, heaviness, and a vague sense of energy loss. Allow me to illustrate this law with a real story. A young woman about to marry came to my consultation. She had planned her wedding for months. She had the support of her family, and on the surface, everything seemed ideal. Yet every time she imagined the ceremony, she felt unbearable pressure in her chest, discomfort she could not dispel through prayer or reason. It was not fear of commitment. She knew this because in other areas of her life she felt courageous, but an internal signal impossible to ignore. Trusting that guidance, she ultimately cancelled the wedding despite general misunderstanding. Months later, she learned that her fiancé had a hidden gambling addiction, a reality that would have destroyed her happiness. Her body, before any external investigation, had detected the disharmony and communicated it with absolute clarity. How can you apply this method in your own life? Here is the comparative visualization exercise. Sit in a quiet place, close your eyes, and relax your body with a few deep breaths. Imagine in detail that you have chosen the first option before you. Visualize the scenarios, hear the words, feel the environment as if it were real. Pause and notice the bodily sensations that arise. Do you feel expansion, relief, lightness, or rather oppression, contraction, heaviness? Repeat the process with the second option. Observe without judgment what your body reveals. Do not force interpretation, just feel. At the end, compare the sensations. The body, in its wisdom, will speak with greater certainty than 1,000 rational arguments. Use this affirmation before beginning the exercise. My body is a temple of divine wisdom, and it shows me the perfect path. It is crucial to learn to distinguish between superficial fear, that natural resistance to change, the fear of the unknown we all inherit, and the deep warning issued by the subconscious when there is true misalignment with your higher purpose. Superficial fear is sharp, accompanied by chaotic thoughts and a sense of urgency. Deep warning, on the other hand, is serene, constant, like a persistent murmur that does not fade with distractions or reasoning. If you find your bodily signals clouded by old learned fears, perhaps from past experiences where change brought pain, apply this neutralization technique. Close your eyes and visualize a golden light descending from above, bathing your entire body, dissolving every fear and limiting memory. Repeat, I release the fears of the past. I receive only the genuine guidance of the present. Remain in this state for a few minutes until clarity arises. It is recommended to practice a body-spirit connection meditation at least once a week. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Bring awareness to each part of your body, from your feet to your head, thanking each cell for being a channel of infinite intelligence. Ask your inner self that every important decision be accompanied by a clear physical signal. Regular practice strengthens the channel and refines your perception. Remember, never ignore the sensation of deep peace that accompanies a decision. Peace is the unmistakable imprint of the spirit in your life. Yes, when you make a choice and are filled with serenity and quiet joy, even if the environment does not understand, you have listened correctly to your inner guide. Conversely, if anxiety and unease persist, it is still time to wait, pray, or consult your subconscious wisdom again. A well-guided life is not a succession of doubts and jolts, but a progressive unfolding of certainty, where body and soul move in harmony. Each day, make it a habit to consult your inner self and listen to the message of your body. Gradually, you will become a perfect instrument of the divine, and your decisions will faithfully reflect the higher purpose that brought you to this world. Repeat with me at the conclusion of this chapter. My body is a temple of divine wisdom, and it shows me the perfect path. Trust in the peace, honor the sensation of expansion, and walk with the certainty of one who knows that the highest guidance first communicates through the sacred temple of their own being. Chapter 5. The Meditation of Absolute Clarity. The greatest secret of divine guidance lies in the ability to quiet the superficial mind and open the doors of receptive consciousness. There is no greater miracle than the moment when a human being, immersed in confusion or distress, surrenders completely to silence and, in that emptiness, receives the perfect, clear, and definitive answer. This is the essence of the meditation of absolute clarity, the art of setting aside all mental interference and listening in the depths of your being to the serene voice of the higher self. It is important to understand that not all meditation leads to guidance. There are forms of meditation that simply relax the body, calm the mind, and provide rest for the senses. These are valuable, without a doubt, but they remain a preliminary step. Meditation for guidance is a higher act. It is active, expectant listening, where the conscious mind ceases to judge, plan, or compare, assuming instead the role of a silent witness ready to receive truth directly from the fountain of spirit. Allow me to show you step by step the supreme protocol of this practice. No prior experience or complicated techniques are required, only genuine openness and willingness to engage in the process, even if at first the superficial mind resists. Choose a quiet place and sit in a comfortable posture. No forced positions or special rituals are needed. Simply keep your back straight and body relaxed. Comfort favors receptivity. Close your eyes gently and bring attention to your breath. Begin rhythmic breathing. Inhale counting to 4, hold for 2 seconds. Exhale counting to 6. Repeat this cycle at least 5 times, noticing how mental chatter begins to soften. Choose a power word, simple and spiritually meaningful. It could be peace, stillness, be, or whichever word your heart recognizes as a key. Repeat this word softly in your mind, as if rocking in the rhythm of a gentle wave. Each time an extraneous thought arises, return to your power word without tension or reproach. Formulate a single, clear and concise question. Ask it with respect, knowing you are addressing the infinite intelligence within you. For example, what is the best path to resolve this matter? Ask the question once, then release it as one deposits a letter in a mailbox. Remain in expectant emptiness. Do not try to force the answer or imagine it. Stay in silence, feeling the inner space open, receptive, ready to receive without rigid expectations. This is the moment in which guidance reveals itself. The ideal practice lasts between 15 and 20 minutes. If you do not perceive an answer at the end, do not worry. You have done the essential work. opening the channel and planting the question. The answer may emerge during meditation as an image, word, or physical sensation of certainty, or it may arise hours later during a walk, upon awakening, or even in an unexpected encounter. Allow me to share the case of a businessman who came to me on the verge of bankruptcy. Competition was suffocating him, debts were overwhelming, and discouragement clouded his vision. He was taught the meditation of absolute clarity. Day after day, he followed the protocol, asking his question and waiting in silence. On the third session, he experienced a sudden elation. A completely new, clear, and actionable idea arose in his mind. He followed that intuition, adjusted his strategy, and within months, not only saved the company, but made it prosper. It was not luck, it was obedience to the universal law of guidance. You should know that the physical sensation accompanying genuine answers is usually unmistakable. Deep peace, sudden expansion in the chest, a silent joy without apparent cause. This is the seal of infinite intelligence. If what you receive causes anxiety, generates doubts, or unsettles you, wait. True answers always bring serenity and clarity. It is essential to warn you of the danger of impatience. Many plant the question, but like restless children, they dig up the seed too soon, eager to see results. Impatience is the greatest obstacle on this path. It closes the channel, sows distrust, and confuses the signals. Make a habit of practicing meditation daily, even when no urgent questions arise. In this way, your receptivity muscle strengthens, and inner clarity becomes your natural state. Daily exercise to develop receptivity. Dedicate 20 minutes each day to this practice. At first, your mind may wander, but over time, you will notice thoughts quieting faster and your connection to your higher self becoming vivid. After meditation, write in a journal the impressions received, even if they are only fragments or fleeting sensations. Remember, the answer may come immediately or present itself as sudden certainty hours later. It may arrive in a dream, in a conversation overheard by chance, or in a persistent image, but it will always resonate with the unmistakable certainty of peace that surpasses all understanding. At the end, repeat for yourself, I am in perfect receptivity. Infinite wisdom speaks to me now, and I receive its guidance with clarity and serenity. Thus, the meditation of absolute clarity becomes your supreme tool. It not only calms the soul, but reveals in silence the next step on the path of your life. Make it part of your daily routine, and you will see confusion yield to certainty and doubt transform into inner light. Chapter 6. Signs, Synchronicities, and Divine Confirmations. In studying the art of receiving divine guidance, many assume that every answer reveals itself only in the intimacy of the soul, in the silence of reflection, in the peace of contemplation. Yet, infinite intelligence, the force that governs both the most distant star and the humble nest of a bird, also uses the stage of everyday life to send you messages. The universe, that great living organism of which you are a part, arranges external circumstances to confirm, redirect, or clarify your path. This is the law of synchronicities and signs. When you ask for sincere guidance, the answer comes not only as a thought, but as an event, an encounter, a tangible fact. Have you noticed that when you meditate on an important question, things begin to happen that seem coincidental but are directly related to what you asked? Perhaps you unexpectedly meet the exact person who can help you, or a book falls from a shelf, and when you open it, the page answers your concern, or in a casual conversation you hear the precise phrase that illuminates your decision. These are not blind coincidences, they are confirmations orchestrated by universal wisdom. Allow me to share the story of an investor I know who was seeking the best opportunity in an uncertain market. He had formulated his question and waited for guidance. That morning, he saw the name of an unfamiliar company on a street advertisement. Later, he heard the same company mentioned in a casual cafe conversation. When he got home, his newspaper carried an article about the company, highlighting its potential. 3 times in less than a day, the universe repeated the message. Understanding the signal, he invested. Within a year, the stock had multiplied tenfold. It was not chance. It was a manifested answer aligned with the question asked, repeated in the unmistakable language of synchronicity. To recognize these signs, It is essential to understand their characteristics. Genuine synchronicity feels charged with meaning, resonates within you, produces an echo, a sense of, "This is for me." Mere repetition is not enough. The sign must align with the question you asked. It should appear in a pattern of 3 or more occurrences and generate a serene impulse, not chaotic urgency. Here are some common types of synchronicities and signs. Numbers. You repeatedly see the same figure or sequence, such as the exact hour on a clock each day, license plates, receipts, or page numbers. Words or phrases. You hear the same word or phrase in different contexts shortly after asking your question. Encounters. You meet the same person or group repeatedly, or receive messages from unexpected sources. Obstacles and redirections. Paths close, plans are cancelled, delays occur that later reveal their perfect purpose. Objects and texts. A book, movie, or song recurs in your environment, carrying a relevant message. The key to noticing these signals is to practice relaxed attention. Do not chase them anxiously. Instead, remain open, observant, and receptive. The universe responds to serene expectation, not obsession. If you try to force your mind, you may confuse desire with true guidance, losing the authenticity of the message. Repeat this affirmation daily to tune yourself. The universe conspires to show me the perfect path in 1,000 ways. This conviction opens your internal and external senses, allowing you to perceive what previously went unnoticed. I recommend keeping a synchronicity journal. Record every event that seems especially meaningful. Observe if patterns repeat, if the messages clarify over time. This exercise trains your perception, strengthens faith, and refines your discernment between mere coincidence and true signal. An important caution: avoid obsessively seeking signs. Hurry and compulsion distort perception and invite self-deception. Authentic signs appear naturally in harmony with your inner state of trust and surrender. Learn to wait, observe, and receive. The universal law is perfect and responds at the right moment. Remember, divine guidance is not only an inner whisper, but also an external orchestration. What is meant for you will be repeated in unexpected, clear, often intricate ways, so that you cannot miss it. The entire universe conspires in your favor when you consult with humility and openness. In this way, your path becomes secure, and life transforms into a dance of confirmations and everyday miracles. Conclude each day by repeating, "Today I have been attentive. The universe shows me in 1,000 ways the next step on my perfect path. I remain open, confident, and receptive." Thus, synchronicity becomes your natural language, and each day you will experience firsthand that there is no separation between your sincere question and the loving answer of infinite intelligence. Chapter 7. Distinguishing genuine guidance from fear and desire. One of the most delicate questions on the path of inner guidance is how to know whether the voice you hear in your mind comes from divine wisdom or is merely a projection of your fears or personal desires. Confusion is understandable, for the ego and the spirit can whisper in similar tones, yet their consequences in a human life are profoundly different. Allow me to clarify this crucial matter. Genuine guidance, the voice of the higher self in communion with infinite wisdom, always has defined characteristics that you can learn to recognize. First, it produces peace, even when it directs you along a difficult or unpopular path. Deep peace is the signature of spiritual truth. Second, it remains constant under scrutiny. It does not dissolve under analysis, but withstands the passage of time and serene reflection. Third, it encourages growth even if that means leaving behind comforts, stepping out of familiar zones, or facing uncertainty. Finally, it aligns with your highest values, with what is just and good within you. In contrast, false guidance born of fear, desire, or greed always carries warning signs. Fear generates anxious urgency. Must I decide now, or will I lose my opportunity? Selfish desire excites immediately, but soon leaves a void or sense of error. Greed demands instant action and is often accompanied by thoughts of comparison, competition, or lack. These voices shift quickly in tone. What seems irresistible today may appear absurd or even dangerous tomorrow. Allow me to illustrate with 2 true stories. A man convinced by his surroundings that a particular investment was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity felt an overwhelming impulse to put all his savings into a scheme promising enormous returns in days. "I felt an incredible energy," he said, "as if something was pushing me to seize the chance before it disappeared." The urgency, the promise of immediate reward, and the lack of inner peace were, in reality, the disguise of greed. Shortly after, the project collapsed and he lost his savings. What he perceived as guidance was truly a reaction of superficial desire. In contrast, a young woman settled in a stable relationship but lacking joy began to experience a persistent feeling of discomfort, not accompanied by fear or rush, but a quiet sadness and inner certainty. "I knew I had to end the relationship even though it hurt, and the loneliness frightened me," she recounted. She followed the guidance, and despite the initial pain, she soon found a new relationship marked by genuine love and mutual growth. The signal was constant, aligned with her deepest truth, and accompanied by peace even amid difficulty. To discern between the voice of the spirit and the voices of the ego, use this simple mental comparison. Genuine guidance. Peace, constancy, clarity, impulse to grow, withstands time, aligns with values. Fear, desire, urgency, anxiety, need to act, sense of danger if you don't. Selfish desire or greed, superficial excitement, emptiness afterward, external pressure, competitive thoughts, rapid fluctuation. I recommend practicing the time test exercise. When you feel a strong impulse, especially one accompanied by rush or fear, wait 3 days before acting. Observe whether the feeling persists, clarifies, and maintains its serenity. If the inner voice is genuine, it will endure the wait and become clearer. If it arises from fear or superficial desire, it will fade or become confused. Also employ the direct question technique. Does this come from love or fear? Authentic guidance always arises from love, from trust in the good, even if it suggests a difficult path. Fear, on the other hand, drives flight, competition, or securing something just in case. Before any important decision, repeat this purifying affirmation silently. "I accept only guidance from my higher self, connected with infinite wisdom." If you feel doubt, enter meditation for a few minutes. Relax the body, quiet the mind, and visualize the different options. Feel, without analyzing, which produces peace, which produces anxiety, and which produces emptiness. Learn to trust deep serenity rather than momentary excitement. Remember, a life guided by the higher self is distinguished by the constant companion of peace, even amid challenges. Anxiety and emptiness are always signs that the guidance does not come from above. Be patient, observe, trust. Gradually you will learn to distinguish the voice of the spirit among the clamor of fleeting desires and fears, and your path will be secure, straight, and full of true fruits. Repeat to yourself as you close this chapter, "I accept only the path of my higher self, connected with infinite wisdom." This is the voice that will guide you without error to your highest destiny. Chapter 8. Scientific Prayers for Specific Decisions. Prayer, as we have taught along this path, is not an act of supplication nor an exercise in uncertainty. It is a scientific declaration of truth, a reliable method to impress the subconscious and activate the universal law of correspondence. What is decreed in the inner world manifests in the outer world. Prayer is, in fact, the tool of the conscious mind to give direction to the creative power of infinite intelligence. When facing a decision, whether in work, relationships, finances, health, or a move, you need a clear and precise formula. Every effective prayer follows an infallible structure. Recognition of infinite intelligence. Acknowledge the existence of a greater wisdom present and active within you. Affirmation that the answer already exists. Proclaim that the solution is already given, even if it is not yet visible. Decree of perfect receptivity. Declare your mind and heart open to receive guidance. Anticipatory gratitude. Give thanks with faith for the response you are receiving. This is how the seed is sown in the subconscious and the spiritual law is activated. Prayer is not to convince a distant deity, but to align your inner world with the perfect order of the universe. Here are concrete examples of scientific prayers for common decisions. Before reciting each prayer, breathe deeply and release all anxiety. Sit with a straight back, close your eyes, and bring your attention to the center of your chest. Base prayer. Infinite intelligence within me knows the perfect answer. Now I receive with gratitude the clear and certain guidance. I trust in the divine order manifesting in my life. Thank you, for it is already done. Career decisions. I recognize the infinite intelligence guiding my life and talents. I know the perfect position for my growth and service already exists. Now I open my mind and heart to safe direction. I am grateful for the clear signs of the path I should follow, and I act guided by inner peace. Thank you, for it is done. Personal relationships. Infinite intelligence unites me only with harmonious, loyal, and loving people. The perfect relationship for my growth and happiness is already prepared. I receive clear signals and act in peace. Thank you, for divine love orders my connections and manifests the ideal relationship. Finances. Infinite intelligence within me is the source of all prosperity. I know the solution to my financial situation already exists. I receive ideas, opportunities, and prosperous paths. All necessary financial flow manifests in perfect peace. Thank you, for abundance flows now in my life. Health. The infinite wisdom that created my body knows exactly how to restore my health. Now, I open to receive perfect guidance for healing. Every cell listens to the voice of life, and health manifests. I am grateful for the clear guidance and renewed strength within me. Moving or changing residence. Infinite intelligence knows the perfect place for my well-being and growth. I now receive inspiration and clear signs of the best place to live. Thank you for an easy, harmonious, and blessed move, and for all the right doors opening for me. Legal decisions. I recognize the supreme intelligence guiding every legal matter in my life. The just, swift, and perfect solution is already on its way. My mind is open and receptive. Truth and justice prevail. Thank you for harmony and the ideal outcome. Choosing studies or training. Infinite intelligence guides me to the field of learning that will enhance my service and joy. I receive clear signs and opportunities and follow them with confidence. Thank you for perfect guidance in my education. Resolving conflicts. Infinite wisdom now harmonizes every relationship and conflict situation. I receive the right word, the correct action, and restorative peace. Thank you, for the perfect solution is already manifesting. Creative or artistic projects. I recognize the source of all creativity within me. The right ideas, inspiration, and path for my creative project already exist. I receive, apply, and give thanks for the guidance, and my work manifests for the greater good. Business and enterprises. Infinite intelligence directs my businesses and ventures. The perfect plan is already revealed, and I receive it with joy. All partnerships, ideas, and resources arrive in divine order. Thank you for prosperity at every step. Family decisions. Divine wisdom orders my family affairs. I receive clarity and guidance in every decision, and the well-being of all is ensured. I am grateful for the peace, understanding, and love manifesting now. Travel or important journeys. Infinite intelligence directs and protects my paths. The perfect route and timing are revealed now. I am grateful for safety, ease, and blessings in every journey. Personalize each prayer by changing details according to your situation, but maintain the structure. Recognition, affirmation, decree of receptivity, and gratitude. A supreme key. Pray with the feeling of an already fulfilled answer, not as one asking for the impossible, but as one giving thanks for a certain good. At the end, feel the peace and certainty of one who has already received. The subconscious responds to the emotion, not just the words. Remember the case of the unemployed woman who consulted me on how to find work quickly. I taught her the career prayer and asked her to recite it each morning and night with faith for 7 days. On the 3rd day, she began receiving calls. On the 7th, she had 3 offers and chose the one that gave her inner peace. It was not magic, it was law. The mind impresses the subconscious, which moves the invisible network of the universe. Do the same. Repeat your prayer morning and night for a week, or until you receive it in confidence. Do not pray from desperation, but from absolute faith in the answer. Repeat the base affirmation. Infinite intelligence within me knows the perfect answer now. Thus, each prayer becomes a decree of certainty. What you sow, you reap. What you affirm with faith, the universe ensures manifests in your life. This is applied spiritual science for everyday decisions, available to you here and now. Chapter 9. When the answer is delayed and how to maintain faith. Perhaps one of the most challenging tests on the path of divine guidance is silence, the interval in which the answer seems not to arrive. Those seeking direction often experience at least once the temptation of impatience, the whisper of doubt. Why haven't I received what I asked for? This apparent delay, however, is an essential part of the spiritual law. Understanding it and passing through it with faith is a sign of inner maturity. Life teaches that every authentic process requires a gestation period. Just as a seed does not sprout the moment it is buried, but needs days, weeks, or even months to break through the soil and reveal its fruit, the spiritual answer planted in the subconscious follows an invisible rhythm. There are profound reasons for this interval. The subconscious is organizing circumstances, synchronizing people, adjusting possibilities, and often waiting for you to remove emotional blocks or to acquire the inner maturity necessary to receive without resistance. Allow me to share the case of a man seeking guidance about a new venture. He followed the steps. He prayed, meditated, asked, and remained attentive. For weeks, nothing seemed to happen. Doubt began to invade him. He questioned himself, the method, and even the existence of infinite intelligence. One day, exhausted from waiting, he decided to release the matter. He said to himself, "I trust completely that the answer will come when and how it should." He continued his life, busy with other activities without forcing the search. 3 months later, at an unexpected meeting, a perfect opportunity arose. A new partner, the right capital, and a renewed vision. Later, he understood that had the answer come earlier, he would not have been ready, nor would the exact opportunity have existed. The law was fulfilled. The gestation was necessary for him as well as for the circumstances surrounding him. The key lies in understanding the law of gestation. Just as you do not demand that a seed sprout prematurely, you must not be impatient with the spiritual answer. Every request has its invisible maturation period. What to do in the meantime? Here are tested tools to maintain faith and serenity during the interval. Active patience. Affirmation, repeat daily with serenity. My answer is being prepared perfectly at this moment. Everything is working in my favor, even if I cannot see it. Release and trust exercise. After your prayer or meditation, fully surrender your question to the subconscious. Imagine placing it in a safe, closing the door, and giving the key to the higher intelligence. Let go of the need to control the how and when. Rest in the assurance that the law is working. Mail letter. Analogy. Think of the process as sending a letter. Once deposited, you do not rush to check the mailbox every hour. You know the system operates, even if you cannot see it. Infinite intelligence acts in the same way, responding at the right time and manner. Constructive distraction technique. When the mind wants to return repeatedly to the same issue, engage in pleasant and creative activities. Art, walks, reading, or service to others, all that elevates your spirit, keeps the channel open, and prevents anxiety. Observe gestation signals. Often before a clear answer arrives, recurring dreams, creative restlessness, small indications, or minor opportunities appear. Recognize them as sprouts of the invisible process. Remember, genuine faith is not tense effort, but serene expectation. It is the attitude of the farmer who tends the soil after sowing, but does not uproot the seed daily. They know that life operates in silence, and that the invisible always precedes the visible. Whenever impatience arises, repeat, "My answer is being prepared perfectly at this moment. I trust, I release, and I receive." Allow yourself to enjoy the present. Focus on what is before you. The less you obsess over the arrival of the answer, the more quickly and clearly it manifests. Confidence is the atmosphere that accelerates the miracle. Thus, apparent delay is neither punishment nor neglect. It is a sign of a greater process being organized for your highest good. If you maintain active faith, life will reward you with answers more perfect than you imagined. And when the day arrives, you will understand that everything, even the waiting, was part of divine guidance. Make this truth your own. The seed of your prayer is already germinating. The fruit will come, and it will be in its perfect time. Chapter 10. Emergency decisions and instant guidance. In every human life, there are moments when time seems to contract, and circumstances demand immediate action. There is no room for prolonged deliberation, no opportunity to consult others, nor even to pray using the usual method. It is in these moments, facing an emergency, danger, or confusion, when the subconscious, if properly trained, becomes a direct channel of the divine way, operating instantly and with certainty. I want you to understand a fundamental truth. Infinite intelligence, which resides deep within your being, is not limited to slow and reflective processes. It can also manifest as sudden impulse, as immediate certainty, as instinctive action that surpasses all logic and prior learning. Just as a wild animal instinctively knows how to escape danger without study, so too does your subconscious, connected to universal wisdom, know what to do when the conscious mind steps aside and allows it to act. Allow me to illustrate this principle with a real story shared by a mother. Her young child was playing, choked, and stopped breathing. There was no time to seek help or recall complicated instructions. Suddenly, the mother knew with absolute certainty what maneuver to perform. She lifted the child, positioned him correctly, and with a single movement cleared the obstructed airway. The child began breathing again, life restored. Later, she realized she had never consciously learned this technique. It was instant guidance, the wisdom of the subconscious in action, that saved her child. Consider also the case of a driver on a highway who suddenly felt the impulse to swerve sharply for no apparent reason. Moments later, an out-of-control truck crossed the road precisely where he would have been. Without that sudden reaction, he would have suffered a fatal accident. Where did that impulse come from? Not from fear, not from reasoning, but from the channel of divine guidance, manifesting as physical intuition. Now, although the emergency response is instantaneous, preparation to receive guidance in crises is cultivated in advance. Every day, before stepping into the world, you can impress your subconscious with this protective affirmation. Infinite intelligence guides my reflexes and actions instantly in every situation. This simple, brief daily programming creates an open channel between your conscious mind and your inner reservoir of wisdom. In the precise moment, the subconscious will respond without hesitation. Here is an effective technique for rapid mental clearing, useful in any crisis. If you find yourself facing an emergency, take a deep breath, hold it briefly, and exhale fully. During that exhalation, release all thoughts, allowing your mind to become empty. This momentary emptiness opens the path for instant guidance. Do not try to think. Let the action arise naturally. The appropriate response will appear as an impulse, word, movement, or clear image. You can also train this ability in daily life by practicing with minor decisions. Consciously choose which route to take, which food to eat, or whom to call, pausing briefly and allowing the first calm impression to guide you. The more you practice with small matters, the more confidently you will respond to greater ones. Remember, intuition, that sudden physical or mental sensation prompting action without reasoning, is a legitimate manifestation of spiritual guidance. History is full of cases where lives were saved, businesses thrived, or serious mistakes were avoided by heeding an inexplicable hunch. Allow yourself to trust this instant voice. Do not confuse panic with intuition. Genuine guidance, even in emergencies, comes with a special calmness, an inner clarity that prevails over external chaos. At the end of each day, reaffirm in your mind, infinite intelligence guides my reflexes and actions instantly in every situation. I am safe, protected, and always inspired to do what is right in each moment. Thus, your subconscious will always be ready to act as a perfect channel of universal wisdom, and you will navigate any emergency with the certainty that you are never alone, never unprotected for a single moment. Make this principle your shield. Divine guidance is available at all times, in every situation, for those who have asked for it and allowed it into their lives. Receive it today and forever. Chapter 11. Confirming and acting on received guidance. Receiving divine guidance is only half the journey. The crucial step, the one that transforms invisible wisdom into visible reality, is recognizing the response with certainty and acting upon it with total faith. This is where many stumble. They doubt, postpone, overanalyze, or allow fear to obscure the clarity just received. Yet the power of inner guidance lies precisely in confident action, which turns inspiration into concrete results. It is essential to learn how to identify when guidance is genuine and when it is a passing illusion. There are unmistakable signs that accompany the true response from your higher self. Observe them carefully and review them whenever you face a crossroads. It arrives with a profound, unmistakable peace, even if it involves challenges or sacrifices. It remains constant under scrutiny, not fading with time or minor setbacks. It is confirmed through external synchronicities, signs, coincidences, and events that reinforce the direction. It produces a sense of certainty, as if it is obvious, even if the rational mind cannot comprehend all the details. It aligns with your highest values and deepest desires, not with fleeting whims or ego-driven fears. It requires no elaborate justification. The response simply feels right, naturally and effortlessly. It is independent of others' approval or disapproval, arising from the core of your being, not from the desire to please. Review this list each time you receive a strong impression. If your guidance meets these points, you can move forward with confidence. Let me illustrate with a real story. A woman felt, after weeks of prayer and meditation, that she should move to a specific city, even though she had no friends or work there. The guidance arrived calmly and persistently, repeating itself in dreams and external signs, yet doubt made her hesitate. What if I am wrong? What if I lose the little I have? Finally, she chose to act. Within days, she found the perfect job and, surprisingly, a spiritual community awaiting her, as if everything had been prepared beforehand. Faith in the guidance transformed her life. Contrast this with a man who, in meditation, received clear instruction to sell a property in a market that still seemed stable. He hesitated, allowing fear of loss and others' opinions to paralyze him. Months later, an economic crisis decreased the value of his asset. Genuine guidance had spoken, but inaction deprived him of the blessing. A warning: doubting after receiving clear guidance is the greatest obstacle to its manifestation. Doubt introduces confusion, blocks the channels of infinite intelligence, and postpones the realization of good. Make it a habit to act from certainty, not from fear. To help you move forward, use this affirmation of courage. I act with total faith on the guidance of my higher self. Every step is guided, protected, and blessed. Sometimes the initial action may feel like too large a leap. In such cases, practice the small step exercise. Identify a minimal action that moves you in the direction received without committing everything at once. Each small step strengthens your confidence and opens doors for the next one. Always distinguish prudence from cowardice. Prudence evaluates details without losing direction. Cowardice paralyzes out of fear of change. If peace remains after weighing options, move forward. If confusion persists, return to meditation until serenity is restored. Accompany your actions with this protection prayer. I am divinely guided in every step of this path. Nothing can divert me from the perfect will of my higher self. Document every outcome, even the smallest. Keep a record of the signs received, the actions taken, and the results achieved. This will strengthen your faith for future decisions and prove that divine guidance is precise, generous, and constant. Remember, faith without action is a seed without soil. Only by moving with confidence will you see life align with infinite wisdom and the entire universe collaborate in your highest good. As you close this chapter, proclaim, I act with total faith on the guidance of my higher self. I receive, I trust, and I move forward, knowing my path is safe and blessed. This is the key to spiritual and material success: recognizing the voice, confirming it, and advancing step by step toward a guided and abundant life, your birthright. Chapter 12. Living in a permanent state of divine guidance. The true art of life does not lie in occasionally receiving divine direction, as if guidance were an emergency resource, but in living continuously under the influence of infinite intelligence. The highest goal is to make connection with the higher self a natural state, as spontaneous and certain as breathing. In this way, every thought, every word, every action becomes a faithful expression of the universal wisdom that resides within you. Many seek guidance only in critical moments, but abundant, fulfilling, creative life, free from anxiety and error, is the inheritance of those who make inner consultation a daily habit. It is a simple, consistent practice that over time eliminates stress, prevents regret, and makes success inevitable. Allow me to share the case of a businessman who completely transformed his life by deciding to consult his subconscious before every significant decision. He was neither mystical nor saintly, merely a practical man accustomed to the challenges of the business world. He discovered that whenever he paused to consult within, the answer would come, sometimes as intuition, sometimes as an external sign, often as deep inner peace about the best choice. His company grew, prospered, avoided costly mistakes, and built lasting relationships, all without the weight of stress or anxiety. His secret was simple. He never acted without first consulting the higher wisdom within him. This way of living is accessible to anyone willing to discipline themselves in the practice of alignment. I propose a 15-minute morning routine to start each day, tuned to divine guidance. Sit in silence with a straight back and closed eyes. Take 3 deep breaths, releasing all tension. Slowly repeat the master affirmation. I live, move, and exist in infinite intelligence, which guides every aspect of my life perfectly. Remain in silence for 2 minutes, letting the sensation of connection settle within you. Formulate the key question for your day. What action today brings me closest to my highest good? Listen without forcing. Receive any impression, word, image, or sense of peace. Visualize your day, each step ordered by higher wisdom. Give thanks in faith for the answers and signs that will arrive throughout the day. This simple routine places you in perfect alignment with divine guidance. But the practice does not end in the morning. Throughout the day, make it a habit to pause before every decision, no matter how small, and ask within, is this the perfect path? If you feel peace, proceed. If doubt arises, wait. Over time, the response will come instantaneously and naturally. At night, perform a conscious review. Reflect on the decisions made. Recognize the moments you followed guidance. Observe the results. If mistakes occurred, do not blame yourself. Learn, adjust, and give thanks for the opportunity to refine your listening. Gratitude strengthens the channel and prepares the ground for even clearer and more abundant guidance. Make this daily attitude your second nature. Listen to your inner voice in both the great and the small. Allow consultation to become instinct, like a gardener consulting the soil before sowing, or a sailor observing the sky before setting sail. Imagine what your life would be like if every step, every relationship, every project was supported by the inner certainty of universal wisdom. Visualize an existence where anxiety yields to trust, where serious errors are replaced by progressive success, where opportunities arrive just in time, and where peace and joy become your daily norm. Remember and repeat daily, I live, move, and exist in infinite intelligence, which guides every aspect of my life perfectly. There is no greater blessing than to become a clear channel for this intelligence, manifesting the perfect destiny that has been ordered for you since eternity. I leave you, dear reader, with the deepest blessing that can come from a heart illuminated by universal law. May every day, every thought, and every decision align you with infinite intelligence. May you live as a faithful instrument of the divine, experiencing peace, joy, purpose, and abundance. May you be light and blessing in the world, manifesting your perfect destiny under the constant direction of the Spirit. So it is, and so it shall be.